these agreements require employees of the government of Canada that access these documents to sign confidentiality agreements. And why is that? Why is there much more redactions, as my colleague said, in these documents than in other documents? It's because these documents were signed at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was desperate for vaccines, when companies were being told to rush vaccine production, do testing in an unprecedented way, in a way they normally don't do it. So these companies were exposed to way higher liability, putting their products on the market than they normally would, because they didn't do the type of testing that normally takes these drugs years to come to market. They did it all in less than a year.
Amazing.
So that's why these companies said, if I'm going to deliver you this product that I haven't tested in my normal way,
let's listen to this.
I want to have different conditions. And
course.
with all countries around the world competing with each other to get these, the countries had less leverage than they normally do. For example, if we were entering into flu vaccine contracts or monkeypox contracts or other things that were normally available, this would be a different issue.
Yeah.
But these are already signed. They were signed at a time the government didn't have that leverage in negotiations. We just wanted to sign as many vaccine contracts with as many producers as possible.
Anything.
Because Canadians were desperate for vaccines. And in the end, it worked out. We got vaccines.
Got
and
something.
We were one of the countries that got to vaccinate everybody the fastest.
I actually wanted to not talk during that as much as possible. Do I leave that in the backdrop? Just in case we want to come back to that. We've already seen this clip, people. If you're not like, I don't know, a month old to the channel, or if you didn't miss that episode, we already covered that. That's Anthony Housefather. He, I think he was with the Conservatives at one point, now Liberal. I forget exactly what his position is. Some ridiculous position within the government. Let me just double check it. Anthony Housefather. He's got some title. Let me just see what it is here. Parliamentarian. What's the title that he's got now? Like some ridiculous title. Hold on. Actually, I shouldn't say ridiculous because I don't know what it means. He's an MP representing Mount Royal. Served as the chair for the Human Rights Committee 2015 to 2019. Following the 2021 election, Housefather was named parliamentary secretary. That's right. To the Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Procurement, people. And that is Anthony Housefather, member of our government, Canadian government, talking about how Canada basically bent over, licked the boots of big pharma, might not be the proper analogy, just took whatever they were offering because everyone was so desperate for vaccines, took it, gave them immunity because, it didn't go through the standard testing, jammed it in the arms of as many Canadians as possible, even though it didn't go through the standard testing. This was Anthony Housefather's own testimony. Not on locals? Impossible. Hold on. I'm going to go to locals. I'm an idiot. I knew I was forgetting something. Always forgetting something. Yep. Adding the RTPM right now, people. Well, at least I said I was forgetting something today. Be on there in 30 seconds. Although locals, you didn't miss much. Well, we're not on locals just yet. Now we're on locals. Should be. Anthony Housefather, Minister of Procurement, explaining just how Canada went about willy-nilly getting these things from pharmaceutical companies that hadn't been tested in the ordinary way. And the pharmaceutical companies were so nervous about sticking these as many arms as they could possibly stick them in because they hadn't gone through the safety testing that they normally do. They were rushed out. They were rushed for manufacturing, and they weren't comfortable getting as many jabs into as many arms as humanly possible without the government immunizing them. When they say that the jab, the only immunity the jab provides is for the pharma companies that sold it. The pharma companies had so little faith in their own product, they refused to sell it without immunity from the government because they hadn't gone through normal testing. They rushed it out. They had no manufacturing protocol, so to speak, which might explain why, millions of batches had been recalled after they found foreign substances in them. But don't worry, we caught it in time. Nobody else ever had any problems. And they wouldn't sell it without immunity. And the government was so desperate. They did it. They weren't in a position to negotiate. They didn't have leverage. So they gave immunity, the only immunity that actually was conferred by anybody, to the pharma companies to sell this product. Why do I bring that video up? I brought it up actually because there are by-elections going on right now throughout Canada. Let me see if I can find this tweet here. There are by-elections currently going on in Canada, including in the district in which I ran, Westmount NDG. Because the man who beat me with 53% of the vote was one Marc Garneau, the astronaut. The astronaut has resigned from his position. We don't know why. Astronaut resigned. Marc Garneau out of Westmount NDG. They elected him with 53% of the vote. He's out. So there's a by-election in Westmount NDG. There's a half dozen by-elections throughout the country, one of which is in Portage Lisbeth. I forget the second name of the Portage, where Maxime Bernier of the PPC is going to run. Portage, Manitoba is where the PPC in that riding got 22% of the vote. They didn't win a seat last federal election. They think they're going to do it now. So Marc Garneau resigns, is out. And they've got by-elections. And the woman running in the by-election is Anna M. Gainey, who I just found out, Anna M. Gainey, Bob Gainey's daughter. I had no idea until I just started doing a little homework. She's, heavily affiliated with the Liberal Party. I know nothing about her other than the fact that she's affiliated with a party that engages in Nuremberg-like human experimentation. I know nothing about her other than that. That, and she's Bob Gainey, who was a great hockey player's daughter. He might still be I don't know if he's alive. So they're having a by-election. And I'm going to post that video pretty much everywhere where people can see it, so they can understand what the Liberal Party is. Now, I've asked Anna M. Gainey if she supports Justin Trudeau in all of his atrocities, if she supports the Liberal Party in all of their Nuremberg-like violations, violating informed consent, human experimentation. I have not, that I know of, gotten an answer. But I will continue to ask in the same way that I continue to ask Marc Garneau how many Canadians were left in Afghanistan with that debacle of an exit. How many were left? He was going around on the election trail, taking pictures and all this stuff, not confirming how many Canadians were abandoned in Afghanistan. So I also told Anna M. Gainey in a tweet that she's running in Westmount. They could literally run a lamppost. They might even be able to run the lamppost and put up a picture of the lamppost on the Liberal signs, and people would still elect a lamppost if it were a Liberal lamppost in Westmount NDG. Maybe this will be the jinx of the lifetime, and a Conservative candidate will win Westmount NDG. Maybe, but I want everybody to how illiberal, how tyrannical, how fascistic the so-called Liberal Party of Canada is. And you have Anna Gainey running for the Liberals in Westmount. She cool with what Anthony Housefather just admitted the Liberal government did to Canadians? Oh, all of the employees, they had to sign confidentiality agreements because we don't want them talking. We had to rush through the negotiation process and get these not tested in the normal way in as many arms as possible. Oh, and you don't want to do it? You're a crazy anti-vaxxer, conspiracy theorist, misogynist, and now we're seeing the consequences of that. So there's a by-election in Westmount NDG. Go ahead and vote for who you want to live with in terms of consequences. All right, people, good afternoon. So we are good on locals now. We should be. Viva Fry, can you please explain diamond membership for Viva? I guess that's Viva Barnes Law on locals. I will after I go make sure I understand what it is myself. That's from Russell44. We are live on locals. I believe we're currently live on the Rumbles as well. People, when I say we've got a show, like I take one day off because it was my wife's birthday. It was the day after Mother's Day. I kind of screwed up Mother's Day and didn't celebrate it. Other than well, we celebrated. We had a nice evening together, but I had to make up for it yesterday. So I take one day off. And what happens? What happens in the news, people? Elon Musk has discovered that you can't criticize someone who happens to be Jewish without getting called an anti-Semite, which it's very curious because for the amount of times that I also criticize George Soros, I'm going to get called one of them self-hating Jews. But George Soros, Elon Musk, there's an internet war, and now Elon has gone from he just hired Linda Yaccarino of the WEF to Twitter. If he thought that was going to make him, Teflon Elon, not bad, for Twitter, and make him bulletproof from accusations of racism and extremism. Well, what did you learn? What did you learn, Elon? We'll get there. Second thing that happened yesterday, not news. I swear to you, I read through the report. It's 300 pages long. It's not news to anybody that was following it in real time. It will be news to people who were not following it in real time, but they're lazy, intellectually siloed, and probably will not care. They'll go read the talking head spins off of the Durham report, which just came out yesterday. Or was it yesterday? It just came out. And the Durham report basically confirmed. There's no other way to explain it other than an absolute coup. It was an intelligence coup to try to undermine the presidency of the duly elected president through absolute chicanery. We're going to get to that. There are a bunch of other things that we're also going to get to. But before we get to any of that, people, did everyone see it said contains a sponsor? This video contains a sponsor. Because it does. I've got a sponsor, and it's a new one. Now, full disclosure for this. I get a package in the mail. I open it up. It's makeup. It's not makeup, but it's like stuff. It's like face skin cream stuff. And I'm not into makeup. I'm not into makeup so much to the point where, like, you see my blemishes. I live with blemishes. I live with bags under my eyes. Maybe I don't have to. Who knows? But all that I know is I got the package. It's Genucel skincare products. I didn't use it, but that's not to say it didn't get rapidly used up within the household. Now, I looked into the product. I use other products. I don't use some, but I looked into this product. I was on the phone with the company, and it has an amazing story. First of all, made in America. Second of all, it's the sponsor for the New Jersey Devils. Third of all, the story behind this is I don't use certain things because I'm not into certain things. I like to say I'm not vain. I'm probably just lazy, but I also don't like doing anything that, I'm not into those types of things, but some people are, especially when they work. And the story behind this company is an Egyptian pharmacist moved to America, opened up a pharmacy, had his own, proprietary blend of whatever it is that goes into these skin products, and put it together and gave it to a few people who then said, it's so good, it works so well in, firming up my skin without having to go through Botox and facial surgery. It works so well. Within short order, these people who were using it came back to the pharmacist and said, we got 50 more orders. And from there, it turned into an amazing skincare company, Genucel, that employs something like 50 some odd people, made in America, a product so good that the company built itself. So most popular package featuring deep firming serum and ultra retinol. I believe those things make your skin tight and firm and all that sort of stuff. Again, just because I'm not into it doesn't mean that it's not good. It's good. Good for them is right. No, it's an amazing story that you have a product that works and it sells itself. And they're sponsored. It's an amazing stuff. So go to genucel.com. You get the promo code Viva. It's Mother's Day week. I'm told. I don't want to play into any gender stereotyping, but I'm told that women appreciate the product and it does make their skin bouncier and firmer. And it's good stuff. Genucel.com, promo code Viva for 10% off your order. The links are in the pinned comment, and the company's got a great story. Does everyone remember the scene from The Jerk when Steve Martin goes to see Bernadette Peters and there's a guy who's got that mask on and then Steve Martin comes in to replace it because he loves Bernadette Peters okay, whatever. So that is it. People, what do we start with? I don't know what to start with. There's so much to start with today. Let me just get Oh, we're going to start with something else. No, okay, no. From oh, the camera started moving again. It knew that I was going to get into. We're going to go from skincare products, people, to apparently militia people. This is wait until you see this. People have to also. Everyone has to appreciate. We're going to get into the Durham report. We now know. And don't take my word for it. The FBI came out with a statement and basically said, yeah, the Durham report is basically right. And we implemented stuff to try to correct the problems that Durham identified as per our protocol in 2016. Bullshizer of the highest manizer, people. It's the same FBI that many people claim, believe was involved in January 6th. What Darren Beattie refers to as the Fed surrection. It's the same Fed, the same FBI, same intelligence. They put in protocol. We'll get there. But this is the latest talk of the town. Hold on. What was the tweet for this thing? I got to remember this. People, I've never joined a militia. I've never seen a militia. I don't know what goes on in militias. Philip Reichert, 19,000. Husband, father, Southerner, former Army and Space Force intelligence, former producer at Fox News, educated at Columbia, West Point, and others. Okay. Philip Reichert put out a tweet that says, this thing called Patriot Front. We're going to look into this in a second. We're going to do some real-time exploring together. Patriot Front running through, quote, combat drills, end quote, near Tallahassee, Florida. Now, I was going to say, like, maybe Viva does some investigative journalism and tries to be the 5'6", very Semitic-looking Westmount Jewish boy who infiltrates a militia in Tallahassee, Florida. Not going to happen. Okay, I don't know if Philip Reichert posted this as if to say, this is the most absurd thing you've ever seen, or posted this as if to say, look how dangerous and serious a threat white supremacy is in America. According to Sebastian Gore, what's his name? Alejandro Mayorga, white supremacy is the most dangerous existential threat in America today. So I don't know which way he posted this. Let me see if if this is how they prepare for combat, they consider me unconcerned. So it seems like he might be buying into the legitimacy of the Patriot Front being an actual militia or whatever. For the record, this is either Fed or Fed adjacent. Okay, good. Okay. Most of these jabronis look like... Okay, good. Oh, Philip, thank you. I'm glad we discovered this together in real time. I don't know. They look like jabronis. I don't know what that is. JROTC kids. JR Junior Regiment of... I have no idea what JR... I'll have to Google that. It's still questionable. Signing up on their website is probably the quickest way to end up in an FBI investigation. Okay. So we know the way he meant it now. Watch this, people. This is what's circulating. The greatest threat to America.
That clap is your left foot touching the ground.
And you guys listen to the boots. You can hear it. Once you get inside, you can hear it.
The one in the middle just snapped for some reason to become...
Wow. Oh, it's the Kipling column. Okay, let's do it again.
That clap is your left foot.
Again, I don't know what goes into a militia. I don't know what goes into militia training. But we got to find the moment when the guy in the dark jeans with the brown boots gets out of sync. Still in sync.
You guys listen to the boots.
Still in sync.
Once you get inside,
There. Why did he double tap on his right foot to get out of sync? So this is what is being circulated to support the idea that militias are the gravest threat to America today. Now, I'm going to bring up a clip in case you think I'm exaggerating. Here we go. In case you think I'm exaggerating, this is Alejandro Mayorkas on MSNBC, who's going to come up a couple of times today, explaining just this.
The president yesterday.
Sorry. Actually, this is in response to the president. This is another piece of information that came out when I couldn't go live. Alejandro Mayorkas commenting on Joe Biden at a graduation speech or something, saying that, white nationalism is the greatest threat in America right now. Asked to opine on this, Alejandro Mayorkas agrees.
The president yesterday at his commencement address for the Howard University graduates called white supremacy the major domestic terror threat in this country. Is that correct?
It tragically is.
It tragically is.
In the terrorism context,
It's a big caveat. In the terrorism context, okay, still a load of rubbish.
domestic violent extremism is our greatest threat right now. Individuals driven to violence because of ideologies of hate, anti-government sentiments, false narratives, personal grievances, and the like. And regrettably, we have seen a rise in white supremacy.
False narratives. Can you just understand everything that Mayorkas just said? Everything that he just said is true of somebody else.
Is our greatest threat right now. Individuals driven to violence because of ideologies of hate.
Who might that be true of?
Anti-government sentiments.
Bear in mind, anti-government sentiment. We are rapidly approaching the point in history where disagreeing with the government or believing the government is in fact involved in the evils that they are involved in, have historically been involved in, and will probably always continue to be involved in. If you adhere to that, if you understand the evils that the government has perpetrated, the atrocities that the government has perpetrated, you're involved in, you're on the radar. Talk about Tuskegee, talk about bombing Yugoslavia for peace, talk about Libya, talk about weapons of mass destruction, Afghanistan, Iraq, talk about 250,000 Iraqi civilians dead because the US had it on their map that they wanted to invade 5 countries in 70, whatever. Talk about that, understand that. Understand Operation Northwoods, never implemented, but really almost close to. Understand MK Ultra, understand Operation Paperclip, where the US government was smuggling in Nazi scientists after World War II so they could be used for the purposes of, picking their brain for science. Understand that. You might be on a list.
False narratives, personal grievances.
False narratives. Well, doesn't that just dovetail perfectly into what the FBI did in 2016? We'll get there.
And like, and regrettably, we have seen a rise in white supremacy.
But the president,
A rise in white supremacy. Can I see some evidence? Can I say, if we were to just say, instead of white supremacy, if they were to call it white pride, like they have like pride months for other cultures, criminalizing pride. I mean, this is an amazing thing. Bill Brown in our locals community put up a screen grab in which I haven't tested this myself because I don't use any of the chat GPT AI thingy things. But he asked AI, can I say I'm proud to be white? And the answer came back and said, there's no point in placing any emphasis on pride in something that you control that is beyond your control, such as race, such as color of your skin. Asked if he could be proud to be black. It said, of course you can. Take pride in it. And literally. But the rise in white supremacy or the white bread. No, he meant white supremacy. Because anti-government sentiment, we're getting to the area of thought crimes. Oh, did I close down that? There was a punchline to that. There was a punchline to that clip from Mayorkas. I had asked, am I allowed criticizing Mayorkas without being called an anti-Semite? Because I didn't actually know Mayorkas' mother is Jewish, so technically that makes him Jewish. So if I criticize Mayorkas right now, following the Elon Musk logic, is that anti-Semitism? Who knows? Okay, let me just see one thing here. The first thing I actually want to see, I'm just going to refresh. Oh, look at that. I think if you talk about, if you talk about militias, no good. Even if it's militias are bad, by the way. I don't know militias. What do militias mean? What does a militia mean, even that it should be deemed to be a problematic thing, even though it's in the Constitution under the Second Amendment? Anyhow, even if you try to make fun of the ridiculous portrayals of alleged militias, yeah, it's a ChatGPT is programmed. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. That was Mayorkas talking about white supremacy being the number one threat in America right now. I think a great many other people might disagree with that. On MSNBC, talking about it. MSNBC is going to come up at least a couple of times during the stream. What we're going to do right now, we're going to go over to Rumble anyhow. Boom shakalaka. Let me give you the stream link one more time. White. I was listening to Tim Dillon on his negotiator episode, and he comes in and he does a check. Jews. Is the mic popping? And he's like, "This is isn't this like how a white nationalist podcast would start?" Quite funny. And it was a great episode anyhow. So let's mosey on over to Rumble exclusively. If people are not in love with the UX at Rumble, first of all, you can let me know and I can ask some questions and make some recommendations, but you can also go to watch simultaneously on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Oh, we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this. The deep state is the actual greatest danger to the U.S. If anybody hasn't read the report, I mean, nobody here is going to be unaware of what's in that report. That report is nothing but a synopsis. The Durham report is nothing but a synopsis of what everybody who's been paying attention already knew. We're going to talk about it, that and more, on vivabarneslaw.locals.com and Viva Fry on Rumble. Head on over there, people. There are 1,000 people here now. There should be 1,000 more over on Rumble after I end the stream on YouTube. Genucel.com, promo code Viva. If you want your skin to look young and radiant and beautiful and cover up your blemishes and, all that good stuff. Okay, Mother's Day special, Mother's Day all week, yada, yada, yada. Ending stream on YouTube, 3, 2, 1.